What's going on, guys? Nice to have you here today. I'm going to wait like, I don't know, 30 seconds, let a couple more people roll up in here, and then we'll get started. Damn, I look a bit tired, don't I? Man, I've been working late, and I know you probably have too. But recently I've gotten into, pulling like 2, 3 a.m.ers. And I'm not the type of person that wakes up at 5 in the morning. I'm the type of person that'll stay up till 2 or 3. So maybe I should get more than 5 hours of sleep. That might help me while I run my business. All right, so this is all MSPs who are here today. I am a consultant. I work only with the IT channel, and we're going to talk today about something you hear a lot. You've had this advice many times. I've been given this advice many times, which is you don't delegate enough to others, right? Like you are the bottleneck in your MSP. Now it's like we hear this a lot, but sometimes it's not so real. It doesn't quite sink in. Now, if I have some people on the call who are running bigger MSPs, who have larger teams below them, it's probably a lot more real to you than it is to someone who's a solopreneur, only has a couple people on their staff. But I want to start this off with asking you a couple questions. So the first thing is, do you have to study to be an IT technician? To learn how to set up group policy, learn how to handle network protocols? Are there certificates for that kind of thing? Obviously, yes. Now, you've probably done that. If you don't have any formal certificates in the field, you probably have guys on your staff who do, or you've done enough study, sorry, that you figured it out. So here you are running a business. Do you have to study in order to learn how to run a business? Are there certificates for it? So my question for you is, why should you think that you can operate something successfully that you've never studied or learned how to do? Right? It's not like you're just going to like show up on a server and know how to set up domain policy. Like grab somebody off the street. So why would somebody just know how to run a business? This is one of the biggest falsities that I think we face. So, stop beating yourself up about your failures as a business owner. Understand that there's things and techniques that you don't know. There's a knowledge gap. Now, if you think that you know and you've shown up on this call today, let me ask you this. Is your business where you want it to be? Is your income where you want it to be? If you had it all figured out, then why are you showing up on the call today? So I work with MSPs primarily in business development, primarily in execution of business development. Business development is a subset of marketing. It's an adjacent function. It results in leads for your business. I used to own an MSP. I sold it. It was a blast, many failures, also some successes. And I'm scaling a lead gen company for MSPs right now. Now, that is a challenge. I had someone ask me the other day, who's an MSP, are you still planning? Are you still working things out? I'm like, brother, I'm always working things out. Like, when does that ever stop? But I've helped many MSPs improve their business development execution, understand that area better, get more leads, more revenue for their business, and also give them insight operationally. My team has people who have scaled 8-figure MSPs on it. So that's what we do. Now, a couple statistics that may or may not surprise you. Roughly half of new businesses don't make it 5 years. So by year five, half are done. Now, I actually thought that was going to be a little bit worse than it was, but that's the actual statistics. Now, as far as MSPs go, according to Service Leadership, this is actually a ConnectWise company that does MSP benchmarking. At any given time, 31% of MSPs are losing money. Like not only just cutting even, but actually losing money. And another 10 to 15% of that are barely breaking even. So about 50% of MSPs are not profitable. I would like to compare that to other industries to see what the results are there. But what that tells us is that half of the MSPs, let's say in the United States and Canada, at any given time, don't know really what they're doing running their business. If you're an owner, what is the final product that you're responsible for attaining? If you could sum it up in one sentence, you're the president, you're the owner, you're the executive director. Your job is to steer that thing towards solvency and growth and expansion. The biggest financial loss is not expenditures. If you do financial planning for your business, which I do once a week, every Friday, I do financial planning consists of different elements, not just expenditures, but also how am I going to make more income? The biggest loss to any business is not expenditures. It's income not made up to your delivery capacity. So if you have 3 technicians and you've calculated your delivery capacity, how many clients can you handle? Let's say you can handle up to 30 managed clients at an average of 5,000 MRR. That's, oh man, what is that? Dude, I'm not great at doing math on the fly. 30 times 5,000, I know 150, 150,000. Is that what that is? Maybe more. But anyway, let's move on from that. And if you're making 400,000, if you're making 30% of what you could be, that is your biggest financial loss. So when you're looking at the situation and the solvency and the profitability of your business, it should be in the lens of what should I be making compared to what I'm currently making, and that needs to get addressed first and foremost. And you don't necessarily, it's like a person fretting over, oh my God, I paid $25 in ConnectWise licenses that I shouldn't have this month. It's like you should be worrying about why you're not out there closing more deals. And this goes back to there are things to know about being an executive. There are things you can study about the tools and techniques to use as an executive to run a business. My story back in 2019 when I started an MSP, I had zero formal technical training, but I did have a level of training in business, economics, administration, sales, marketing, and I had been responsible for staff below me in other industries. So I started an MSP because I love technology and I thought it would be fun as hell. So I started computer repair. The funny thing about computer repair is all it takes is Google Ads and you got a steady stream of leads. So, my tech room was just filled with computers that I was fixing, and it was really fun. But pretty quickly, I was like, hey, I want a bigger game. I don't want to just fix computers. This is not doesn't fit what I'm trying to do. So picked up Carl Palachuk book, Managed Services in a Month. Really easy read, but really effective read. It was written, I don't know, maybe in the early 2000s. And I immediately went, all right, cool. Managed IT company, we're going to do this. I brought on someone in sort of an executive in a technical capacity, and we just went to town. We developed a prospecting system that was primarily based on in-person visits. I didn't pay for ads. I didn't do any of that. And we got to 20K MRR pretty quickly. Now, one blind spot, probably the biggest blind spot that I had, was one of the biggest gaps in my knowledge was finance. Like, not really understanding financials, not really understanding solvency, how to manage money. And if you're an executive running an organization, the areas that are going to give you the most trouble, the biggest failure points in your organization, are the areas where you personally have knowledge gaps. There's a direct coordination between your knowledge level about a subject or area and the results that you get. You will never get more results than you have knowledge or understanding of something. So one of my big blind spots was finance. Probably the next biggest one was understanding how to delegate functions. So when we started, COVID hit pretty quickly, and we were actually doing door to door during COVID, which was pretty wild when I look back on it. But we grew, and I was taking too much money out of the business. There's actually a term that I learned that's pretty interesting. It's called being worker oriented. Worker oriented versus organization oriented. And what that means is that your priority, being worker oriented, is to care for your workers, care for yourself. The business to you is an income machine to feed you and the staff. So someone who's very worker oriented might be like, oh, I'll take a day off, anything for the worker, anything for the worker to make them more comfortable, pay better, this kind of viewpoint. Now, there's nothing wrong with caring for your staff and caring for yourself. But the problem with that is if you're worker oriented, you could starve the organization. If there is no organization left, by organization, I mean business, there is no business left. What's there to feed you anyway? So things like not leaving reserves in your account, not setting aside for, OpEx expenses, not investing back into your MSP, but seeing it as like a cash grab. And I see a lot of MSPs that operate kind of like fully driven by, oh my God, I can make so much money. Yes, you can make so much money. But like, don't pull it all out for yourself and your staff. And I know it sounds simple, but I made that mistake. And it was I got into a bad position actually at one point where I had $15,000 of tax debt that I incorrectly handled. And I had to come up with $15,000 to get out of that hole. Now, luckily, I had a successful exit with the company and it helped pay that. But like, I dug myself a hole unknowingly. So the point is that back to this organization oriented versus worker oriented, you got to keep the organization there. You got to care for the organization's necessities. The definition of organization can be defined as a structured group of people who work together to achieve common goals or objectives. Much like a living, breathing organism, an organization adapts to its environment, grows, and evolves through the collective actions and interactions of its members. It consists of various roles, functions, and systems that operate in harmony, allowing it to respond to challenges, pursue opportunities, and fulfill its purpose. Organism. Your MSP is a living, breathing organism. If you're not feeding it and keeping it healthy, it's not going to feed you. Now, as far as this delegation point, I'm on my third business, and this hasn't really become real to me until the third one. If you are not at the income level that you desire in your business, what is the single common denominator? It's you. You are the ever present thing in that picture. There are only so many bricks a bricklayer can lay in a day. If he's laying 150 bricks, you can't go to the bricklayer and say, dude, lay more bricks. This is bullshit. He's at capacity, bro. If it's just you, it may not be that your income's being capped because you suck at lead gen, you suck at prospecting, you don't know how to talk to people, like whatever. It might be that you're at capacity, dude, for just you. The only way to solve that is to duplicate yourself, also known as building a team. You will not survive doing it alone. If you want to be an IT consultant making $250,000 a year, even then that's tough, but let's say $250,000 a year, being a solo consultant, okay, fine. That's a game that you can play. If you want to be a managed IT provider and you want to grow and scale a real business, you got to understand a lot about this growing a team thing. And there's a lot of incorrect information that is pervade out there about the subject. I'll actually throw you one right now. If you hire somebody and then give them a stream of orders and directions, you're better off not hiring that person in the first place. Because the whole point of putting somebody there is duplicating yourself to hold a function that you were previously wearing. If they don't learn how to do that function as you would do it, per your company policy, per your systems, you're better off doing it yourself. So hiring incompetence and then, or hiring somebody who is competent, but then you keeping control like this on what they're doing every single day, you are absolutely setting yourself up to fail with that person. It's way better off giving them the policy, training them, showing them how to do it, and letting them sink or swim to a degree. So back to this thing about organizational minded versus worker minded. Are you motivated by money in your MSP? Now, I've been in sales 12 years. You should want more money if you're a salesperson. Matter of fact, is you have to. You have to be to a degree motivated by commission. But can you not be motivated by conviction and purpose? And it's like, how does that look in an MSP? Are you going to wake up saying, oh my gosh, I'm convicted that I want to stop these malicious people from harming businesses in the United States. Yeah, a person can absolutely feel convicted about that. I don't see a lot of that true conviction out there, but that's a great conviction to have. Maybe your conviction is, I want other businesses to really grow and expand as a result of me helping them. That's a conviction. Your ability to help another person, another business, another entity is the lifeblood of income. Money, money, money is a flows towards things that are helping other people, helping other things. You demonstrate service and help, you know, keeping your mind on that is a lot better than how much money you're going to make out of this account. What's the MRR on that? Like, you got to know that stuff, but like, it's also good to kind of have an internal monitor on like how are you motivating yourself to run your business? Because if it's purely on profit or income, then you're going to have blind spots in other areas that are going to hurt you, like taking care of your team and growing your staff and like really giving true help to another business. The best way to make more money is to help them even better, because then they'll exchange money with you. All right, now you coming here today and listening to this, you're probably looking for maybe some insight, some feedback or input from someone else in the channel, in the industry. But I want to give you one, maybe two things that you can actually do immediately as a result of coming here and listening to this. There's one exercise that if you do nothing else, this one could be an absolute game changer for you. If you look at an organization, it has a lot of parts and pieces to it, right? I'm probably going to do a whole YouTube live on that, but if you have an org chart, good job. You should have an org chart. So let's think of all the functions there. Now I want you to take a stack of index cards. You're going to write down on one side of each index card some function that you do daily or weekly or even monthly in your business. It could be something as simple as like, I take out the trash at the office, to I hold a project meeting with my project team about projects that are underway, to I check the ticketing dashboard 3 times a day to make sure our service desk is on top of things. These are like 3 different functions that you do. So let's take the trash function. I take out trash every day in the office. On the back of that card, you're going to write the name of that position. Trash taker outer, trash man. And you're going to, okay, I wear a trash man function. Now let's go to the project manager function. I hold the project team accountable and I monitor how they're doing. On the back of that, project manager. All right, I check tickets 3 times a day. I check the service desk to make sure things are going according to plan. On the back of that, what do you want to call that? Service desk analyzer, service desk checker, could even be service desk manager if it's that expensive. Think of every possible function that you do in your MSP. Write that out, and then write the name of the title of that. Then place all those out on the table and look at how many functions that you do. It will blow your mind. If you think you're unproductive or maybe you don't do enough, chances are you're doing a lot. You just haven't separated out what are all the different things that you are doing. And the key to getting a function adequately performed is being able to define the function and separate it out. Okay, this is the trash taker job. What does the trash taker do? Okay, write it out. Takes out trash 2 o'clock every day. puts it in the dumpster, make sure there's a bag, reliner in every single trash can, and there's no trash on the floor. Cool. That's a function. Now somebody can do this that isn't you, because you could give them that. Hey man, I want you to do this. Do what? Be the trash maker. What's the trash maker? Here it is. Do it. It's over to you. On you, bro or sister. Dude, same thing for every single function in your organization. Marketing, sales, business development. A lot of MSP owners don't even know the difference between marketing and business development, let alone the expressed functions that are there that need to be done to make that thing work. Let alone how do you run the people that are doing it. Okay, it's just a matter of it's just organization, man. Now, what I've told you about today, the study of organization, the study of administration, I can recommend some materials for you to read on that. If you're interested, reach out to me and I can point you in the right direction. You know, if this kind of brought some things to mind for you and maybe exposed some things that you're doing that you want some help with, reach out. The biggest thing to understand is that there is a way to do things as an executive and as an owner, and there are techniques to learn that will help you be successful. The better your knowledge is in that area, the bigger your organization expands. You are the bottleneck, my friend. You have to work on you to make your business expand. Now, I told you that I run an MSP lead gen business. Next week, I'm going to talk about MSP lead gen. I'm going to talk about why it fails, why what you tried typically fails, why when you hire another company, when it fails, why does that fail? And what are the parts and pieces of lead gen that result in success? What is success in lead gen? What are the best MSPs hitting in terms of numbers, in terms of bringing in prospects and doing lead gen? So don't miss it next week. I'm going to post about it on LinkedIn. You just have to click the link that I post on social or email and click notify me. Guys, thanks so much for coming. I know we're ending off a couple minutes early. I really appreciate you. I hope this helped you today. Keep following me. Have an awesome rest of your week. Thanks.